Back to the phones, Allentown, Pennsylvania. This is Mac, and welcome, sir. It's great to have you with us. Hello.
Oh, thank you, Rush. It's an honor to talk to you. Listen, I'd like to talk about the agreement that they're pursuing, the Obama administration's pursuing with Iran. And, what makes it particularly devastating is the stated objective is to prevent Iran from acquiring a nuclear device, which has been a stated objective for a long time.
Well, but see, actually it isn't.
Well, the presumption...
The presumption is, but the objective is that Iran will get a nuclear weapon in 10 to 13 years. That's the stated...
Well, I disagree with that. In the intelligence community, particularly Israel, the presumption has been that they had a testable device for a while, limited. What they're really pursuing, in my opinion, is a sustainable weapons program. That would be the reason to never test it because of the repercussions from the international community. If you look at the evidence, the amount of centrifuges they're running, the independent work on long-range missile technology, the only way to accomplish this is to remove the sanctions and to prevent in the international community from bearing down on it. If they test now, it'll bring a backlash. It'll prevent them obtaining...
I agree with all that. I think you misunderstood. It is not Obama's intention to deny them nuclear weapons or power. He only states that. That's been our traditional stance, is that they shouldn't. But the Obama deal, the deal on the table, Obama's even conceded that their breakout time for nuclear weapon could be almost down to zero after 13 years, meaning they're 13 years away from getting it. They're much closer than that, as you point out.
Oh, I agree with you, and I believe it's maybe 6 years, and I think if that happens, we're going to move to extortion diplomacy, and I believe once they have the capability to build a sustainable weapons program, because that's what's needed, then we're in much worse trouble than we are. And I actually have...
What do you mean as opposed to one nuke? That's not a big...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Netanyahu referred to this in roundabout ways. And, the sanctions have worked for preventing them pursuing their real goal up to this point. But if the sanctions come off, they're going to make all the fuel they need. They're going to keep pursuing the long-range missile technology.
The sanctions have come off, and we are not demanding they reduce their centrifuges. They get to keep them and even build on them.
That's exactly right, and that's why keeping what they produce is such an important factor to them. They're never going to let it outside of their borders or store it in Russia or anywhere else.
No way. No way.
So, I think we're heading towards a very dangerous time, and from having friends on the ground in Egypt that they really perceive as all America thinks the way Obama does. Of course,
well, they're not right about that, but I'll tell you, it may be time to review Obama's foreign policy. Let me do this after a break. I think this will be a cold dash of reality for you. Daniel Pipes. I found this on a post today by John Hindrocker at Powerline. Daniel Pipes, who is a Middle East expert think tank specialist, has really put together a great paragraph that describes the wreckage that is the Obama foreign policy. Count the mistakes. Helping overthrow Muammar Gaddafi in Libya, leading to anarchy and civil war, and ultimately Benghazi. Pressuring Hosni Mubarak of Egypt to quit, and then backing the Muslim Brotherhood. And then the Arab Spring, what a total disaster that was. This, in turn, has led the now president of Egypt, al-Sisi, to turn toward Moscow. Because we've alienated him. He's not our guy. The Muslim Brotherhood was our guy, and the Muslim Brotherhood made a mess of things. The Egyptians threw him out. Al-Sisi is a good guy, but he's not one of ours. Obama doesn't particularly care for him, so he's had to turn to Moscow. We have alienated our most stalwart ally in the Middle East. That would be Israel. Obama said of ISIS, they're the junior varsity, just before they seized major cities. Obama hailed Yemen as a counterterrorism success just before its government was overthrown. This alarmed the Saudis to the point that they put together a military alliance against Iran. And then Obama decided to coddle the leader of Turkey, encouraging his dictatorial tendencies, We got out of Iraq and Afghanistan prematurely. We have doomed the vast American investment in those two countries. We've just basically wiped out every accomplishment that was made there. All because Obama didn't agree with us going in the first place. Now, what this leads to, it is a question that has been on the tip of everybody's tongue since practically the first day of this administration. Well, in my tongue, since 2 weeks prior to the inauguration. You'll never forget when I said, I hope he fails. And everything you see now is why I said that. But here's the question that everybody has. Is it on purpose or is it incompetence? Is the Obama foreign policy disaster? The sum total of his foreign policy is a disaster, all these elements of it. Is it on purpose or is it incompetence? Another way of asking, is Obama succeeding? Is this what he wants in the Middle East? Or does he want something else that isn't working? Does he really believe that everything he's done foreign policy-wise would renew love and respect for the United States and bring peace and tranquility to the region? Or does he want this chaos? Does he want Israel to be in everybody's crosshairs? Does he want the United States to have a reduced role and thus much less influence in the region? Does he want this chaos? So is he failing or is he succeeding? And that depends on what the objective is. And this is what people still are uncertain of. Daniel Pipes continues. Is this a random series of errors by an incompetent leadership, or does some grand, if misconceived, idea stand behind this pattern? To an extent, it's ineptitude, as when Obama bowed to the Saudi king and threatened Syria's government over chemical weapons before changing his mind, and now sends the U.S. military to aid Iran in Iraq and fight it in Yemen. Stop and think about that. We send the U.S. military to help Iran in Iraq, i.e. fighting ISIS, and to fight Iran in Yemen. Now, at the end of every one of these listed disasters, mistakes, or successes, depending on your perspective, there is Iran getting a nuclear weapon. And I think by now, those of us who pay attention on a daily basis have become fairly confident that there is no deal. That this thing that was announced last week by Obama is not a deal. The Iranians are happy because their sanctions have been lifted, but there are no restrictions. There's just a series of promises that we're going to talk further, and that Obama and John Kerry caved on virtually every demand that we had made. And the Iranians said, nope, that doesn't work for us. I'm sorry, Mr. Kerry. He caved. Every one. 3 or 4 different things. And the end result of this is, like our last caller said, Iran doesn't just end up with a single nuclear bomb and the ability to make more. They end up with a nuclear program, nuclear power, nuclear weaponry, which will provide a brand new, unprecedented destabilization of the region. And the question continues to be asked, is this on purpose or is this ineptitude? Now, the ineptitude people say, no, this is Obama's naivete. He really believes in his own speeches. And he really believes that we have no business telling what countries, what weapons they can't have. And I believe that, but I really believe he thinks that we've had no business being who we are since the days of our founding. For whatever reasons, we've been through them left and right. I think he thinks this country's unjust and immoral, ill-conceived, and all these things. And we've had no right to tell people around the world what they can and can't do. It's none of our business whether the Iranians have a nuclear weapon or not. They've got the ability to make one. Who are we to tell them they can't? Nobody told us we couldn't. Absent the concept of good guys and bad guys, then it might be easy to look at the world that way. So Obama says, we don't have the right to tell them they can't get a nuclear weapon. So instead what he says is it's up to us to persuade them never to use what they build for aggressive purposes. And that's just utter denial in who we're talking about here. Obama gave an interview with Thomas Loopy Friedman. Let me see if I have that here. Please tell me I printed this out. Please. Please tell me I printed it. Oh, come on. Did I print it out or not? I'm going to have to summarize it. Obama said to Thomas Loopy Friedman, and it was about our foreign policy, obviously. Obama said, look, we've been trying things for 50 years here, and we've never tried anything different. Look, we are the all-powerful United States. We've got all the power in the world to start trying different things. He said, look at Cuba. Cuba can't do a damn thing to us. Since 1959, we've frozen them out. Well, let's try something new. Let's open up. Let's see if it changes things for the Cuban people and for the United States. What harm is there? If it doesn't work, then we'll go try something else. Ditto Iran. We've been trying to tell the Iranians they can't have a nuclear weapon for all these years. We've been calling them names and calling them the state sponsors of terrorism. But we haven't tried anything different. Let's try something different. We're the powerful region. Iran's a small country. They can't do anything to anybody. He really said this. They have a GDP of $30 billion. We've got a GDP of whatever it is. It's a tiny country compared to us. We've got all the power in the region. Let's try something new. Let's try something that's... And he used the magic words change. Young people love the word change. The low information crowd loves the word change. Believe me, it's a magical word for particularly for leftists. Do not doubt me on this. Damn it, I wish I had this thing in front of me. I'm going to print it out during the break. Because the whole point of it is that Obama is saying, look, we've been doing things the same for 30, 40, 50 years, and it's not gotten any better. It hasn't made any difference. We're so powerful, we can't be hurt by trying something new. Let's go ahead and try a new approach. If it doesn't work, then we'll try something else. And if you read it, you may it makes some sense, but it's rooted in total naivety. There are reasons that we have been consistent from administration to administration, party to party. There's a reason we've been consistent, and that's because of a common understanding of who the bad guys are and who the good guys are in wherever in the world you're talking. That's the thing that escapes Obama, probably purposefully. Let me take a break and I'll find out. They'll be right back. Don't go away.